Here's the big question this show answers. How do we leverage technology and human science to positively impact our personal and professional life? The Tech Human Experience has the answer. Here's your host, Inc. 5000 tech founder, neuroscience junkie, and Navy SEAL wannabe, Javier Guerra.
Hello, my fellow tech humans. I'm here sitting with Andi Mann. I'm at the InnoTech Austin conference, and we're just going to have a quick chat around technology innovation. Andi, could you give the audience a little bit of introduction on who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Andi Mann. I work with Sageable. It's my own company. I'm the founder and the global CTO there. So I provide research services and advisory services for technology innovators, for investors, builders, buyers of new technologies.
Nice. Okay. And Andi was just speaking at one of the breakout sessions here at InnoTech Austin. So Andi, let's talk a little bit about technology innovation. There's obviously tons of innovation going on. It's moving at a rapid pace. You know, what would you like to talk about in that arena?
I think look, I love innovation. I love doing new things, new ways, and it's exciting. And a lot of people have ideas, but ideas are easy. Execution is hard.
Oh yeah.
So it's about, for me, the planning and doing it intentionally. You know, accidental innovation is definitely a thing. You know, you think about the light bulb moment, and it does happen. But in actual fact, most innovation happens in difficult ways, in documents and spreadsheets. It's about planning, it's intentional, it's about metrics and goals, it's aligning with your business, it's trying things out and failing. The light bulb moment where you create a Facebook or an Uber or something pretty much doesn't happen. So I'm really interested in the ideas of innovation planning, programming. Where's the function? Where's the execution of the innovation?
Yeah, when you say light bulb moments, I think about Tesla, right? It's like, you know, Tesla would sit in like a dark closet and he would get all these images and visualizations. I do a lot of the same stuff with like deep meditation stuff, but at the end of the day, I completely agree with you. Like, I have so many ideas, right? I'm a natural visionary, but putting those ideas into action. But even before putting those ideas into action is, okay, what do we focus on? Because we can't do it all at the same time. And so it's very challenging, especially with the pace of technology and how fast it's changing. In your opinion, you know, what have you seen? Have you seen any sort of tools or any sort of methodology that could maybe help us move forward to really kind of almost weed out the noise and know where to focus?
Yeah, Javier, that's a really good point, right? The focus. Ideas are easy. And you put a bunch of smart, creative people in a room to come up with ideas for your business, and they'll come up with all sorts of stuff that doesn't actually matter, right? So I always like to start with vision, product vision, mission, right? Alignment with the core business objectives. So you think about OKRs, right? Objectives and key results, also known as sparkling KPIs, if you have these things written down and you have a clear path to what it means to deliver positive outcomes for your business, right? What are you trying to do? Get new customers, deliver new products. Are you trying to expand your product range? Are you trying to get into adjacent markets? Are you just trying to deliver efficiencies? If you can understand how that aligns with your business goal and then your product vision, then everything gets aligned. Yeah. So you start to sort of put guideways for your teams so that they can innovate in the right ways. They're not coming up with outrageous ideas that have nothing to do with your business anymore because you've given them the tools to understand what your business needs. Yeah. So that's one of the methodologies I like to use.
Yeah, there's so much waste that we see in organizations, you know, so it's, you know, having the company vision is one thing, but what I like to say is, like, you know, we need to take culture down to the team level, because you can have an organizational culture, you can have an organizational mission, you can have organizational goals at a high level, but those need to trickle down to the very succinct, concise, clear strategies for the teams that are involved. Because, you know, once you get out of, you know, what Rackspace would say is, once you're out of like a team larger than that can consume one pizza,
yes.
right, it starts to get very diluted. And you know, I like to say is, you know, of course I'm a geek when it comes to human science, and that's why my company's Tech Human, but it is very difficult to communicate and to keep people focused in general. And we see so much waste, not only in maybe doing technology projects that get scratched, or different different departments that are using similar technologies and maybe spending double than what they should be, but it's just it's hurting the cats, right? I think there's some stat that says that the human brain gets really off track every 90 days.
Oh, yeah.
So we really need to, I completely agree with you, we really need to understand, like, what does the business need, and then effectively communicate down the chain and make sure everybody's recalibrating like every 90 days to make sure that, you know, you're mitigating the risk of waste and failed projects, or just projects that get canceled, because there's so many millions and millions of dollars that get spent on it.
Oh, I love that, Javier.
Do you have an example that you can share? And I know you probably have confidentiality agreements, but is there maybe an example of maybe somebody that you've helped to kind of herd or line those cats, so to speak, and get them kind of on the right direction to where it's mitigating risk and lowering waste, that kind of stuff?
Oh, Javier, I used to have a badge that read cat herder.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because herding cats has been my life in a lot of ways.
Nice.
I use a lot of matrix influence and stuff. I don't need to lead huge teams,
Yeah.
and so I need to have influence. So herding the cats is really about helping people with understand how they contribute well and get satisfaction out of working in an innovation program, for example. And so, yeah, I've worked with a bunch of people to set up these innovation programs so that there are regular touch points and people understand what they need to deliver. And you talk about failed ideas. Failed ideas are great because they tell you what you don't have to do now,
Yeah.
right? They cut back on the set of possibilities. A failed idea is an excellent idea.
Yeah.
You know, failure is good
As long
in
as it
innovation.
didn't go too long.
You see, and this is something I talked about in my talk today, was the 4 failures, right? Fail 4 ways.
Nice.
Fail fast, fail small, fail cheap, and fail forward. Right? So you don't spend too much money on it. You don't take too much time. You don't use too many resources, and you learn from failure. So yeah, when you want to get to this point where failure is okay, there's a cultural difference. It's got to come from the top. You've got to give people room to fail, room to succeed as well, right? So every 90 days, have a touch point. Innovation jams is one thing that I've done with a couple of companies now, is the idea of running an innovation jam once every month, once every 3 months, to get those ideas in, right? Ideas are easy, so open the funnel, get as many as you can, get the entire organization involved.
Nice.
And then you get those ideas, and then you've got to apply some kind of metrics and gates to make sure people know that their ideas are being acted on. And if they're not being acted on, why and what happens to it? What happens to rejected ideas? You know, if you do these sorts of things, and I have done this for a bunch of different companies, delivering new products becomes part of your DNA. It becomes part of your culture to innovate, because you have that seamless connection from ideation through to experimentation through to delivery. Rather than just having product leaders deliver products, you've got the entire organization behind you. And it's super powerful in terms of being able to come to market faster, deliver competitive advantage, create efficiencies and productivity. And so, yeah, I've followed this process a bunch of times now.
It makes me think about just the consumer in general, right? Everybody is becoming more and more spoiled. It's, especially the young generation, they have everything at their fingertips now. And you have organizations, like Amazon, that you can just, fire it up and order something and boom, it's there, like Amazon Prime. And so the consumer is getting so used to that. Realistically, in my opinion, is that if companies are not continuously innovating and finding out how can we deliver better service, better products, better whatever efficiencies, right, that benefit the end user, the internal, the external stakeholders, then they're potentially going to be disrupted, right? And so if you think about it, I believe that people really need to get good at change, and it's just going to continuously exponentially help them into the future, because things are changing so fast, and it's accelerating, and people almost expect it now. It's like, okay, what have you done for me lately? It's like we have to keep getting better and better and better.
I absolutely agree, Javier. That's why I opened my talk today talking about cloud computing and automation, because when you talk about this modern culture and the expectation that things will happen straight away, then you need to have things that will work at scale and at speed. And so cloud computing, automation are a great foundation for innovation, because they let you start and get agile and try new things in new ways, and just fail in those 4 ways without failing big or expensive. You don't have to buy a server to try out a new program. You just rent one from Amazon for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's the
or Azure. We're not favoritive to Amazon.
absolutely.
It'd be Azure.
My last cloud provider was actually Google. So
Or Google.
and in actual fact, this is one of the good things about cloud computing is the interoperability.
Yeah.
So you can drive innovation by looking at all of the services from all of these cloud providers and seeing what's going to work for your business to move forward.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I think cloud computing and automation give you the speed and the pace to meet the modern demand that everything should happen straight away.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so amazing. You know, when I started my first company years ago, you know, there were so many more resources at my fingertip, and it's now it's like as time goes on, it's just like there's so many more and more innovations coming out. It's really the easiest time in history to start a company. Granted, you could be in an industry that's very saturated, but you know, we're in one of the most saturated industries in the world, and you know, we found a creative niche to create a company that's unique, and the way that we deliver, the way that we offer, the way that everything that we approach is different than all of our competitors. So, but without having a lot of the resources at our fingertips, it would have been difficult for us to really understand, first of all, how to create a new type of company and have access to all the information. But not only that, have access to all the latest and greatest tools that you know, one of my ex-employers, a $20 billion company, has access to. We have access to the same tools. And so these innovations are helping so much, and it's creating so much opportunity. But again, to me, it goes back to the focus. Like, what do we want to do? What is the meaning behind it? And then let's align as a team and implement and leverage these technologies effectively. What is your opinion? I guess as things continuously evolve, right? Like, you know, you have AI coming out, you have so many new innovations. Um, you know, let's talk about maybe the workforce in your opinion. So, in your opinion, my son, right? He's studying marine biology at A&M. He decided, you know what, I want to go to something more broad. I want to focus maybe on computer science. With he likes psychology, so he wants to focus on like cognitive science, machine learning type things, and he wants to go to UT because there's many more options at UT if he wants to maybe switch later. From maybe a younger generation perspective, if you could go back and do it all over again, knowing what you know now, like where do you think is going to be the biggest opportunity in the next 10 years, so to speak?
Oh, Javier, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be a rich man, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Look, there's no doubt AI is going to change a lot of things. I think it's going to take time. It's Amara's law. I don't know if you know Amara's law is that we overestimate the impact of technology in the short term and underestimate the impact of technology in the long term. And I think that's where we are with AI right now. I think we're overestimating its impact right now.
Yeah.
It's hot, it's exciting, it's new. We're doing all sorts of things with Gen AI. But as I said in my talk today, Gen AI will create images with humans with 4 fingers because that's what it's learned from cartoons. And so it's not quite there yet, but it will be, and it will change things. There's a lot of things that I'm really excited about. Computer vision is another one.
Mm-hmm.
So applying AI and machine learning techniques to video to understand what's happening in the video. So now a computer can understand, you know, an interview with someone. They can understand their sentiment. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they angry? Brand recognition. When did my brand appear in this video? You know, computer vision is being used for all sorts of things right now. Things like, well, self-driving cars. You mentioned Tesla earlier on. No, Tesla now doesn't use so much LiDAR. It uses mostly computer vision. It's got video cameras and analyzes what's around. But again, we know that fails sometimes. Apparently, you can put a traffic cone on the hood of a cruise auto robo-taxi and it'll just stop because it thinks it's in a construction zone. And it can't get out of the construction zone because the cone is attached to the car. You can.
Interesting.
I'm a cyclist, and I know that you can do a track stand where on a bike you just stay in one place, standing on your pedals, and Tesla won't turn across you because it doesn't know how. It can't deal with that, right? So some of this computer vision AI stuff, I think, is really exciting. It's going to change the world, and it already is starting to, and yet it's not actually a mature technology.
Yeah.
So some of these things are what I'm looking at. But look, I closed my talk today by quoting William S. Gibson, who wrote, I think, Steampunk, Cyberpunk. The best way to create, the best way to
change the future.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. That's right. The best way to predict the future is to create it. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I can't predict the future. What I can do is create it. And that's what I would love for your audience to do.
Yes.
Don't try and predict the future. Create the future.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's, that's something that I had, to learn the hard way, right? I wasted a lot of time and energy just kind of going through the motions, right? And that's something I really been coaching my sons from a very young age. And now my daughter, I have, a 2-year-old daughter. And even from this age, it's like I'm telling her, you can do whatever you want, right? And I'm prepping her because like at a young age, my son, I would ask him, what do you like to do? What do you enjoy? I took him through different frameworks like Ikigai and different coaching frameworks for him to figure out what he wanted to do. And he decided to go to marine biology, right? But I've continued to coach him. And now he's like, you know what? I've tried it for a year. I think I want to go a different route. I want to go into computer science. And so, but when we get focused, when we understand what we're passionate about and we take that action, right? We kind of clear out the noise because we have so many options, then we literally can create our futures much, much faster, right? But we've got to learn to cut the noise out, figure out what's meaningful to us, and almost do some reverse engineering of thinking, what do I want to be remembered for? What do I want to leave for my family? What impact do I want to make in the world? And then reverse engineer that and say, how can I get from point A to point B faster, and start focusing your attention there, and block out the noise, block out the, or at least limit the hanging out with friends, limit watching TV, right? And just go after it. And like literally you can create your future, the future, and have a big impact.
I mean, I love that, because what you're teaching your kids is it aligns pretty well with my innovation plan. The way that I think about, you start by doing research and understanding market sensing, right? Understanding what's available, what possibilities are there in the world. Then you narrow it down. It's the funnel, right? Then you narrow it down to things that are going to make sense. And for your son in that context, so looking at all sorts of degrees and opportunities to learn what's going to make sense for me. And then trying it out, experimenting, doing a proof of concept, maybe taking a couple of courses, and then iterating. Because maybe it's good, you double down, you take a couple of extra courses in the same subject. Maybe it's not what you want, so you go and take a course in another subject and just see what it's like. Right? So iterate, all with goals in mind. So your goal might be, for me, it's for the business outcomes. For your son, it might be, leaving an impact on the work, or making a fortune, or whatever it happens to be. You've got to have those goals. You've got to be aligned. And so I think what you're teaching your son, I think, actually aligns pretty well with what I'm teaching senior executives about innovation. Look around, see what's good, try it out, iterate, try something else, iterate again, align it with your life goal. I think you're doing great, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, and it's, what's helped me in that arena is just being an expert of human science, right? And if you think about humans, if you think about companies in general, I believe that the lowest common denominator underneath any problem is a human, right? Whether it's technology, whether it's whatever, it's humans at the bottom line, and humans are not that difficult to predict. We don't like to change. We all have a nervous system, and we don't evolve that quickly, right? And so
it's true.
So if you kind of start to learn that, and how is the human affecting this project or this goal or this company or this mission, it starts to kind of help you with clues. And it takes a village, right? You're not going to go in and innovate by yourself. You need to tap into those minds within your organization, and triangulate. And there's so much genius there hidden in every person. It helps to kind of pull it out. And so it's exciting. It's exciting what you do. Can you help the audience understand how you could maybe help somebody in this arena if somebody's interested in reaching out?
Yeah, absolutely. So amongst the many things I do at Sageable, www.sageable.com, is innovation planning and innovation programs. So working with you and your team to have these innovation jams, to run hackathons, to do ideation sessions, brainstorming sessions, help you figure out your gates, your metrics, how you want your funnel to look, what your ideas are, how they get rejected, how they get accepted, and how they get into production. So that whole program is something that I help executives and leaders, especially technology leaders in IT operations and system development, do all of that.
Nice. So, if you could use some help, right? Or if you just want to pick Andy's brain, here's him. I'm sure you can find him on LinkedIn. And Andy, is there one piece of actionable advice you could maybe leave the audience with today?
Yes. It comes from something that you said, and I believe this very, very deeply. Engage everyone in innovation. Executives do not have ownership of innovation. Most of your best ideas will not come from your senior people. because they've already been within systems where they have barriers and blockages and boundaries. So get young people, get people of color, get people with different diversities to give ideas. Remember, ideas are easy. You don't have to take them all on, but make innovation an entire cultural experience for the whole company. It's not a private thing. It's not owned by the boss. It's not owned by the product team. Everyone should be able to contribute to innovation. I'll leave you with a quote that I got from a CIO at a big bank in Australia who said, I meet with my interns every month because they don't know what they're not allowed to do. They're rule breakers because they don't know what the rules are. And if you want to innovate, you're going to break some rules.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Well, Andy, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Audience, if you'd like to pick Andy's brain, reach out to him on LinkedIn at Sageable. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to help your fellow tech humans. Like and share this with your network on LinkedIn. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate
Thanks, Javier.
The Tech Human Experience